In the magical land of Oz, the people of Munchkinland gather to rejoice over the death of the Wicked Witch of the West. Glinda the Good reflects on the witch's life story, revealing that she was born out of an affair between the wife of Governor Throp and a traveling salesman. From the moment of her birth, she was rejected because of her unusual green skin. This rejection caused her to face a difficult and lonely childhood. As Glinda is asked if she was friends with the witch, she shares that they knew each other and begins to recall their shared past. Years before these events, Elphaba Throp arrived at Shiz University to accompany her younger sister Nessarose, who was confined to a wheelchair. At the university, Madame Morrible, the strict dean of sorcery studies, noticed Elphaba's incredible magical abilities after a spontaneous display of her powers. Seeing Elphaba's potential, Madame Morrible offered to tutor her privately. Elphaba eagerly accepted the offer, believing it would eventually lead to a meeting with the Wizard of Oz, whom she admired deeply and hoped could help her change her green skin. However, Elphaba's excitement was dampened when she learned she had to share a room with Galinda Upland, a cheerful and popular student. The two struggled to get along, clashing over their starkly different personalities. Meanwhile, Nessarose caught the attention of Boq Woodsman, a friendly and lively munchkin, though Boq secretly admired Galinda. Elphaba crossed paths with Fiyero Tigalar, a rebellious prince who had a free-spirited attitude and a talking horse. Dr. Dillamond, a goat who taught history at the university, confided in Elphaba about the growing discrimination against animals, who were losing their rights and even their ability to speak. Dr. Dillamond expressed his fear of becoming the next victim of this oppression. Elphaba, moved by his plight, assured him that the wizard would surely step in to solve the problem. Fiyero, known for his carefree and rebellious nature, decided to host a grand party at the Ozdust Ballroom, inviting all the students of Shiz University. His charm and charisma made the event the talk of the campus, and everyone eagerly anticipated attending. Galinda, ever the social strategist, saw the party as a perfect opportunity to spend more time with Fiyero. To make that happen, she devised a plan to ensure she could be by his side. Galinda convinced Boq, a cheerful munchkin who had a crush on her, to escort Nessarose to the party, framing it as a way to be kind to Nessarose, knowing it would leave her free to pursue Fiyero. As the party began, the ballroom filled with music, laughter, and students dressed in their finest attire. Galinda, confident as always, mingled while keeping a watchful eye on Fiyero. Meanwhile, Nessarose, excited to attend the event with Boq, hoped for a deeper connection. But Boq's attention was elsewhere, focused on Galinda, who was intent on impressing Fiyero. Amid the celebration, Galinda received unexpected news that stunned her. Madame Morrible had allowed her to join the highly coveted sorcery seminar. She learned that this favor was arranged by Elphaba as a thank you for convincing Boq to escort Nessarose. Though Galinda had never been kind to Elphaba, the gesture made her reconsider her opinion of the green-skinned girl. The evening took an awkward turn when Elphaba arrived at the party wearing a pointed black hat, a gift Galinda had given her as a slight. Unaware of the mockery, Elphaba wore it earnestly, but the other students quickly began to laugh at her appearance. Galinda, witnessing the cruelty, felt a pang of guilt and, unable to stand by, stepped forward to take Elphaba's hand and lead her to the dance floor. This unexpected act of kindness silenced the room, and as they danced together, the tension between them began to ease. Later, Galinda took another step toward genuine friendship by offering Elphaba a makeover. She set aside her initial judgment and focused on helping Elphaba feel more confident. Through this act, the two began to see each other in a new light, creating a bond neither of them had anticipated. The next day, the joyful memories of the party were overshadowed by a grim announcement. Dr. Dillamond, the kind-hearted goat who taught Ozian history, was forced to retire after the school board passed a discriminatory policy that banned animals from teaching. The students were shocked as guards escorted Dillamond out, and Elphaba felt the weight of the injustice. The arrival of Professor Nikitic, Dillamond's replacement, only deepened the sense of unease. Nikitic was cruel and unscrupulous, and during his first lesson, he brought a frightened lion cub into the classroom for live experiments. The sight of the terrified cub enraged Elphaba. who, along with Fiyero, decided to rescue the cub. They quickly managed to escape the university grounds with the cub, and once in the safety of the forest, released it into the wilderness. As they stood together in the quiet forest, Elphaba couldn't help but feel a deep connection with Fiyero. His courage and willingness to stand up against injustice resonated with her. However, it became clear as they talked that Fiyero's heart belonged to Galinda. He spoke of her with admiration, unaware of Elphaba's growing feelings for him. As they parted ways, Elphaba reflected on their time together, feeling a bittersweet sadness. Though she wasn't the one Fiyero wanted, she resolved to focus on her studies and her growing determination to fight against the injustices she saw around her. Elphaba receives a personal invitation from the wizard, who has heard about her progress. Galinda, now shortening her name to Glinda, in response to Dilliman's mispronunciation, decides to accompany her. Together, they board a bullet train to the Emerald City, Oz's capital. During their journey, they strengthen their friendship, taking in the sights and excitement of the city, all while singing One Short Day. Upon arriving, Elphaba and Glinda are introduced to the wizard, who presents himself as a sentimental man. Elphaba shares her desire to help the talking animals of Oz rather than focus on changing her appearance. Madame Morrible, who had accompanied them, reveals that she came specifically to witness Elphaba's first meeting with the wizard. Both the wizard and Morrible encourage Elphaba to read from the sacred Grimoire spellbook to test her powers. Elphaba, following their encouragement, reads from the Grimoire, causing the wizard's monkey guards to painfully grow wings. Morrible and the wizard are thrilled with the results, using the winged monkeys as spies. As Elphaba watches, she begins to understand the terrifying truth. The wizard and Morrible are responsible for stripping the animals of their rights and speech, and the wizard is not the savior he appears to be. Shocked and disgusted by the realization that she had unknowingly helped them further oppress the animals, Elphaba is filled with guilt and anger. Feeling betrayed, she flees, rejecting the wizard and Morrible's deceitful plans. This marks a turning point for Elphaba, as she vows to fight against the injustice and oppression she has uncovered, setting the stage for her transformation. Glinda tries to convince Elphaba to reconcile with Morrible and the wizard, but Elphaba is resolute in her decision to thwart their cruel intentions. With a heavy heart, she says goodbye to Glinda, who wishes to support her, but is quickly apprehended by guards. Elphaba, determined to escape, uses the Grimoire to levitate a broom and takes off, evading the wizard's guards and monkeys. Her powers cause a citywide power outage, helping her escape. Meanwhile, Morrible labels Elphaba as a wicked witch, a label that quickly spreads across Oz. As the news of Elphaba's actions reaches Shiz, chaos ensues. The students evacuate, with Fiyero fleeing on horseback, and in Munchkinland, Nessarose watches her father, Governor Throp, suffer a heart attack. The ripple effect of Elphaba's escape is felt everywhere, as her decision to defy the wizard and Morrible begins to unravel their control over Oz. Elphaba, now flying west on her broom, leaves Glinda behind, embracing her new path. Her defiance marks the beginning of a personal transformation as she steps away from the life she once knew. She embraces the freedom that comes with defying gravity, knowing that her actions will reshape her destiny.